We've got a customer with a plane actually. He doesn't have a link on.
This is yours truly up here shooting video on the top deck. I don't know if any of you guys know the story of La Flora, but a guy, Mark, I can't remember his last name now, but Mark was the GM up there, a British guy. He saw the water retreating. This is a very important factor. You ever see the water going out and you're seeing rocks you've never seen before? Run for the highest tree, okay? Because that means that's the great indicator of a tsunami. I just sent dozens of emails out this afternoon telling folks your indicator is if the water starts retreating, it's time to get out of Dodge. Because what's happening is the wave is sucking out and then it's going to start coming back in. So Philippines, Fiji, Hawaii, all these people, I'm saying, watch out for that retreating water. Okay. Anything under 11.6 meters was inundated. Okay, here's 813. How many of you have been here? How many of you guys have seen this place? Okay, great. Okay. What stopped it? What stopped that ship, that 30-meter patrol boat? What stopped it? It could have kept going for another kilometer, except it ran into the rubber patch back there, and then bounced back a little bit. Okay, here we go. The tsunami began to crest, side by side with the sister ship. The sister ship log rolled. All those folks died on that ship. This one did not go over. Went over the bow. Everybody above deck was washed over. The guys inside were still okay. That's a big boat. Okay, it went all the way to the keel hit bottom. Here's La Flora. There I am up again taking the video from the top. It was the only reinforced concrete on Khao Lak, so it was the only place that really stayed. The GMs went up on the top, told everybody, come on up here. When I asked him later, he said, I don't know anything about tsunami, but I knew that when the water went out, it was going to come back in. So he went out and told all of his guests to come up on the top deck with him. The palace guards flipped him off. They all died. But he was able to get about 280 people, I think it was. Yeah, hey, my memory's not gone. I haven't looked at this show in years. Okay, 280 people on the roof. 80 people ignored the warning and died. And now imagine if you're on top of that roof and you're watching the water come up and up and up and you're seeing everything on either side of you is gone, underwater, and the water keeps coming up, and it came that far from the top of the retaining wall. Must have been a pretty hairy experience. Okay, Ban Nam Ken. Brad, you did a lot of work out there, didn't you? You guys have done a lot of work over there. Larry, I know you have too. Right, okay, so these guys deserve a lot of credit. Okay. High and dry forever. That boat's never going to be back in the sea. Okay, early warning. What's the early warnings? If Banda Aceh had used a telephone tree, nothing would have happened, but they didn't have much time. They could have called Penang, could have called Phuket, could have called Sri Lanka and India. We could have saved hundreds of thousands of lives. Tied in with shake reports. We didn't have any shake reports in those days. My biggest problem by 8:14 in the morning, I had the shake report from Honolulu. There's been earthquake in the Indian Ocean, and there may or may not be a tsunami. How do you take that to the governor at 8 o'clock on Sunday morning, day after Christmas, and get him to mobilize the troops and go out? Well, we didn't have any shake reports then. We're doing a better job of it now. If people listen with their feet, if you knew about the retreating water, they have some tsunami awareness, very few fatalities. They could have evacuated the town. Okay, but modern man's lost touch with nature. Fatal mistake in more ways than one. There you go. Okay, let's get the sad stuff out of the way first. And I really came here tonight to joke around with you guys, right? So I want to have a good time with you, but I also want to talk about the environment. And I do have two other slideshows here. I don't know, how would we get those, James? I want to show one that explains why I'm such a crazy man. Okay. Huh? The one, my life as a porn star. Okay, but we got one there. Let's see. Maybe the small one. I'll just go through a few of these guys. Now I'm in Skull. Are there any other Skull members here tonight? Yeah, a couple of you guys, yeah. So I have one, the Smithsonian Environmental, the Tourism for Tomorrow, so many awards. The Skull is the one that I really like the most. I want you guys to know. I want you guys to know that the Skull Award means more to me than any of the other awards, because Skull members have actually been on my trip, right? Most of these awards, you just fill out an application, and whoever writes the best rap is the guy who gets the award. People have never even been on their trips, they've never been to the location. But the Skull Award, Skull members had actually been on my trip and nominated me. So anyway, in 1980, oh, this guy's already, it's like a actual moving PowerPoint, you know? What am I going to do here? How do I get back to the start, James? I'm an internet idiot. Okay, so anyway, let's go to number one or number two. Okay, here we go. I have to remember this guy's automatic here. I've got to keep pace with it. Is it going to work now?
That's good, John. That's good.
Roll tape is what we would say. Okay, I was swimming in the sea at 5 months. That was the ugly baby, that was John. So I was literally swimming in the sea at 5 months. Built my own kayaks when I was 10 years old. That's me running up. Who's else dumb enough? I'm rehabbing wildlife in the 50s. This is going down into Guaymas, Mexico in the 50s. My childhood was a gift. I really had some wonderful parents. This is Mesa Verde in Colorado. This is an idiot climbing all the way up there for a picture. And there I am camped out in my favorite campsite, that's in the back of Honolulu. So I decided nobody would listen to me about AIDS when I was in cancer research, so I decided to start sea kayaking and recreate the voyages of the ancient Polynesian explorers. So today we're doing stuff like this. This is going way too fast. So, okay, this is me on my honeymoon in a hurricane. This wave should actually be up there, but in that kind of conditions, you don't stop and take 2 shots. Anyway, we like to bring people closer to nature. Silent impact free sea kayaking Unfortunately, the other guys don't get this. And we like to get into crazy places. This is absolutely pristine environment here. I'm not going to tell you where it is. This is a place up in North Phang Nga. I think it's one of the most beautiful spots in Thailand. And we've been able to keep it that way, except for some minor problems last year, but those are over now. And so we like to get into some crazy places and explore spots that nobody ever goes, because you can do that in a kayak. Now this shows you, I used to keep my camping gear in the back of the boat. Now we put the guide back there when we're going through the caves. So anyway, we like to enfranchise local people, share with local culture, show off a lot of stuff. Here's our mini guide's cultural heritage. So I like to combine it all, mix it all into one. Lady said, so many Hawaiians would go on my trip and say, I learned more about my culture in one day or 1 week with you than I ever have in my entire lifetime. So this feels really good to us. And then here we go, we do the Loi Krathong in the nighttime. Those of you who've been on the trip, you know all about it. No Nescafe, we actually do stalactite coffee as percolation, the same as the water coming down through the islands. And then our guides are always your friend for the day. Most of them, this guy's been with me since June 1990. And I have several guys with more than 15 years seniority. So this kind of experience is where you get it all together, right? In '83, nobody thought about sea kayaking, let alone going into the limestone sea caves like this. So this is in Khao Lak Bay. This is in Phuket. Here we are, training the guides up there. Paddling after dark's a lot of fun. I'll tell you a funny story about that when this is over, which isn't going to be too long. Okay, we were accident-free for 27 years. I'll get into that after this is finished. The guys are trained not to make the krathong. You're supposed to do it on your own. This guy, by the way, has 22 Emmys, or Oscars. He's the special effects director for Disneyland. And I was quite proud because Disney sent their whole creative team out here to learn creativity from the Caveman. I was in shock, you know. I said, wait a second, I've got an IQ of 3. You're sending me these genius people? So anyway, that's Sony, been with me since June 1990. This is at least 3 years ago. We always go through our first stage, safety, lifeguard training, take the school kids. These are from Obi's school. Work with the Thai Naan Environmentalist Institute. I'll get into that in a minute because we've got Pooh here from Phuket Heritage Trails. I want to introduce her in a little while. I was on the Grand Palace Planning Committee. This is the chairman of the commander of the Royal Barge ceremony here. So I got the inside peek with all the Royal Barges. Nothing like John Everingham, though. I mean, he's the master, right? And I have the only photo shoot ever of the Grand Palace after dark. Lifetime rehabber. The tsunami thing again. Did over 60 videos for the post-tsunami recovery. We also did the only visitor attitude survey after it was done. Tons of interviews, all of this crap, you know. Now this is, what was his name? The magician. The Indochina Media Memorial Fund. Puerto Princesa is our case study. I'll get into that in a minute. And all this is going way too fast. That's our on-the-water classroom. Our great food, we like to say we serve better food than you buy in any hotel. Excuse me, Jasper. And we're trying to keep Phang Nga Bay clean. It is just an absolute loss. I'm now at 8,852 bags of rubbish. out of the bay. That's an average of 399 a year over the past 22 years. And all from my kayak. Plus we do, this is what the other companies have done to the mangroves and the mangrove home. So this is mass tourism coming into ecotourism locations. But anyway, we're not going to give up. And there you go. So I want to get into a couple things. One, I do Phang Nga Bay cleanup every year. Usually do it in January. We can do it anytime. I would like to get the Navy League, the IBAP, some other service clubs. Everybody, let's get out there. It costs 1,000 baht a person for us to put out the boat. I'm sorry we can't do it for free like when you're cleaning up the beach. But we serve you food and we've got to hire guides to go around in the kayaks. And also we have to have a boat. And a boat is a hole in the water you put money into, right? So anyway, every year we do the Phang Nga Bay cleanup. The first year we went out to James Bond Island and we found their rubbish dump. And it is stratified broken glass, where every afternoon they take all the beer bottles that they sell over on this one beach just across the channel, break the bottles and leave them there. I had to tell my PSU students, I'm sorry, but you can't walk in there anymore. It's just too dangerous because of all the broken glass. This is the way some people treat their country. I find it absolutely shocking. So we go out there, finally after 22 years, when they had a TAT guide training, they actually let me be a training guide. I couldn't believe it. I finally met my competitors who I'd never seen in the Bay, and I was able to convert probably 30% of the guides out there, but that still leaves 2/3 of the guys that are out there dumping rubbish, feeding monkeys, all of this. So we got a long way to go. This, I don't like to put the economic card out there, but this is our economy. This is the future of Phuket. We've got to get out there and do something about this or we're going to kill the goose that laid the golden egg. We're rapidly on the way to being Ibiza or Mallorca, Spain. And like I say, I go back to this Phuket Wan story where the governor of Krabi has thrown out the beach umbrellas. He's thrown out the spots on the beach. He's gotten rid of the jet skis, right? I don't know why anybody would ever want to ride a jet ski. They're horrible. But, and if you want to talk about the environmental factor of two-stroke engines, one speedboat to Phi Phi Island with only two-stroke engines on it, in one day creates as much global warming greenhouse gases as 2 Humvees in their entire lifetime. Think about that. The two-stroke engine, you pour motor oil into it, it goes through the engine once and right out the back. So 30% of the oil petrol mix never even combusts. So all those fuel tanks you see on the side of the speedboat, 1/3 of that you might as well just take and throw in the sea. Is this the respect that Thailand deserves? I'm sorry. This is criminal. Absolutely criminal. And it's service clubs like this are the only people that are going to get things changed because the government doesn't care anything about it. They're taking in the money too fast, right? I don't want to use the C word, but we all know what's going on. Okay? So, it's your home, it's my home, and we're the only guys that give a shit. I'm sorry. We really have to be the folks to do something about it. Because if we don't, people aren't going to come here anymore. We're going to be stuck with really low-end group tours. I don't want to mention any nationalities, but we all know who I'm talking about. And we're on the downhill slope. There's the Stanford Business School did a 10-point evolution of a destination cycle. From one is a backpacker coming to a fisherman on the beach and saying, can I rent that straw bungalow for a day? Maybe give you 100 baht. At number 8 is all the 5-star hotels and everything. Number 9 is where we are right now. And number 10 is death. Nobody has ever come back from 9. No destination has ever come back from 9. Let's be the first one to do it. I was in Patong the other day. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I got lost. I've been here 22 years. I got lost on a pickup. I went to pick up my guests. I couldn't even, where are we? Where are we? This used to be a buffalo patch. When I came here 22 years ago, it was a buffalo patch. I'm sorry, we have to do something. Right? And let me get back to some of the things that I'm really proud of. In 1976, Prudential Development Corporation wanted to build a second Waikiki on the North Shore of Oahu. 2 years ago, 36 years later, my friend, I founded an NGO called Keep the Country Country, and I named it. I had to convince them that it was not country western music theme, right? 2 years ago, we finally won. 36 years we maintained this battle. Credit Suisse Bank actually ended up with the land, and we finally beat Credit Suisse Bank in the Hawaii Supreme Court. No opportunity of appeal. That's the conviction that it takes, folks. If you love Phuket, you got to be ready to make this kind of a commitment. And if you don't, it's going to be a tough place to raise your kids. Okay? Another thing.
Would you accept questions from the audience? There's a lot of people who want to ask
sure.
stuff.
Yeah. Any questions? I was going to wait till the end here. Okay.
Give me the answers anyway.
Okay, you might have seen something. There was a picture of Dr. Chong Yen from the Thailand Environmental Institute here. I got here in 1989. 1991, some high-rise hotels started going up in Old Town. I said, wait a second, you know, this is the best spot in Phuket. I knew that I'm just what in Hawaii we would call a haole boy, right? I didn't have a lot of political weight, but I did know Governor Biwa. So one day I'm at a cocktail party, Biwa walks up to me and goes, hey Caveman, how you doing, right? And I said, I'm not doing too good because I'm seeing hotels go up in Old Town. So I got together with Dr. Chong Yen from the Thailand Environmental Institute, and the three of us worked for 2 years to get Old Town as a historical heritage district. And Pooh, would you please stand up? Okay. This lady today runs Phuket Heritage Trails, okay? As far as I'm concerned, it's the best trip in Phuket. It's a walking tour of Old Town, and it's her neighborhood. She takes you right in the homes of the people that still live there. I learned so much that afternoon. Thank you very much. Everybody, you have to do her trip. You absolutely have to do her trip. It is spectacular. Okay, I'm gonna have it on my website, and I'm gonna give her as soon as I learn how to retouch photos on an Apple. I just got an Apple. Like I said, I'm an internet idiot. So as soon as I get those photos retouched, we'll have your slideshow. But this is the kind of tourism we want. Local people with a fair price tour showing off the best that Phuket has to offer. Okay? Any questions? See, Danny?
It didn't work.
Yeah. Puerto Princesa.
Puerto Princesa.
Yeah.
I go there 3 times a year. The cleanest, greenest, most environmental spot in Asia. Anybody that ever wants to go with me, you're welcome to come, please. I go on Valentine's Day to the Love Affair with Nature. It's a mangrove planting festival. we have a wonderful time, except this time it rained and I lunched my P90, so it cost me a bit of money, okay? But on the last Saturday in June, they have the Festival of the Forest, the Pista di Caveman. The people have planted over 2.5 million trees. I'm not talking about mangroves or little twigs over here or something. I'm talking about forest trees. They have a big rock festival afterwards. It's absolutely spectacular. And then I go for the mayor's birthday, where all the top singers in the Philippines show up and give this guy a great hurrah. Mayor of Paradise. Go look for it on, what is it, YouTube. Do a Google on YouTube for Mayor of Paradise. I did a show with Discovery HD on Mayor Hagedorn over there. He's, what a guy. It opens with his life as a mafia hoodlum. The bishop in Puerto Princesa realized that this guy was the only guy that had the fiber to kick out the corrupt mayor that they'd had for 25 years. And in that video, Mayor Hagedorn is one of my best friends. Says, you know, everybody thinks that I've always been an environmentalist, but it wasn't until I was elected that I even knew what environment was about. When he took over the city, there was $25 in the city treasury. The last mayor cleaned out the treasury not only for himself, but so that the mayor could live through on his campaign promises. You know what he did? He picked up a broom and he went out and started sweeping the streets. And he went to every house and he said, the last mayor stole all the money. You want to live up to the campaign promises that I made and got me elected? Get your broom and help me start cleaning up the streets. What type of politician does this? Goes out and cleans up the street with their broom. He gets down on his hands and knees in the mud and plants mangroves. And this guy is a national hero. By the way, what's the Filipino boxer that is, yeah, Manny Pacquiao is his nephew. Right, so he's got some beef behind him, you know, but this guy is really something. Mayor Edward Hagedorn, he's got over 400 environmental awards, and anybody that wants to go with me, the next time I'm going is the last Saturday in June, and I've got two of my interns here, where these guys go. They probably ran out because they're so bored, right? But no, you have to stay. Right, these are my slaves, right? We call all our interns slaves, right? But anyway, these guys are going to be going over with me in June, and I would love for you guys to come over too. Any of you want to go? It's a tour that I do for free. All you got to do is pay your own way, and I can probably organize it so once you get to the Philippines, there's no cost at all. Okay? When I take just a few people, the mayor picks up the tab for everybody. If I take 20 people, I think it's only fair that we pay our hotel bill. Something like this. They have dolphin watching. You can go snorkeling with the whale sharks. They have the world's longest sea cave, 13 kilometers long, with very strict volume controls, and it's like a banca goes in, a paddle banca goes in every 5 minutes. So you got to wait to go into this cave. It's very spectacular. I like our caves because they're nice and tight, and you know you got to squeeze through sometime. It's a little bit more exciting, right? But this is a beautiful cave. What else? They've got a great mangrove tour. All of this, everything in the town is centered around the environment, and not only that, the government, the national government of the Philippines gives 480 university scholarships a year. This one small town gets 400 of them. 400 out of 480 every year. You go around, the kids, they're not talking about Justin Bieber. They're talking about the environment. You walk past a table in a restaurant, and the kids are talking about what's the next thing we're going to do to protect the nature. So anyway, there you go. That's what I would really like to see somebody do. Just let me know, and we'll do it. Any questions now? Okay, yeah, sure.
Going back to the Phang Nga Bay cleanup, how many people have you been getting supporting you in the past?
Well, I've been doing it with PSU, it's the Songkhla University. The first year I had 84, the second year I had 74, and this year they totally raped my syllabus in class, and I only had 16.
How many can you manage to take out?
Well, that's what I'm saying, you know, that's 200 people that I've had the past 3 years. Pardon?
And how many people can you manage?
Oh, so they just want to go. We'll just hire another boat, go out there and clean up the bay. I see it as a matter of public duty. It isn't something that we want to do, it's something we have to do. It's really funny, I can tell you where the rubbish came from, what company it came from in most cases. A lot of companies put their logos on it, right? And you know what my favorites are? Used Pampers. Yeah, there's some of the fishermen out there, they take their wives and babies with them, and then the wife tosses the used Pampers in the water. And I go, oh man, some more used Pampers, man, just what I want to see in Phang Nga Bay. You know, so anyway, there you go. They feed the monkeys all the time, absolutely. I don't know how we got into feeding wildlife. By the way, I'm a wildlife rehabber. I want to get back to telling you some funny stories about my childhood. I was swimming in the ocean before I was born. Seriously, Nick, I was swimming in the ocean before I was born. My mother was a fan of Esther Williams, and Esther Williams used to swim in the pool. God, who knows who Esther Williams was? Okay, all us old geezers, right? Okay, Esther Williams was like the female Mark Spitz of the 30s and became a famous movie star. And she was an Olympic champion swimmer. So when she was pregnant, she swam in the pool. When my mom was pregnant with me, she swam in the ocean. So as the legend goes, I don't remember this, but as the legend goes, I was crawling in the ocean at 6 months. You saw the picture of the ugly fat baby up there, right? And a lady ran up to my mom and said, lady, your baby's in the ocean. You're gonna drown. And a way to pick me up, I did a 360 and came down flat on my stomach laughing. And my mom said, if he's that stupid, just let him keep on going. so that's exactly what I've done. I still keep on going. Then when I was 5, I had a pigeon. I started rehabbing wildlife when I was 5 years old, right? Am I talking too long?
No, we're at the age of 5, we're thinking 5, then there's 10, and 15. Keep going, John. Keep going.
Okay, so anyway, I'm 5 years old in the first grade. I had a pet pigeon named Junior that just showed up in the backyard one day. And it flew to school with me and sat on my shoulder in class. And then when we go out for recess, it would fly up on the roof and watch us play and then go back in with me. So one day, Mrs. Waterhouse walked me home from school and I was just shaking. I'm going, oh man, I must have done something really bad if my teacher's walking all the way back with me, right? And she knocks on the door. Mrs. Gray, I just came to tell you that little Johnny is the most remarkable student I've had in my 3rd-year career. I'm off the hook, right? So that night, my mother didn't want me to get a big head. So she marches me out on the street. It's a full moon night. She says, little Johnny, you are remarkable. You're a human being. You're the most remarkable machine we know of in the universe. I want you to know that as a human being, you can do absolutely anything that you ever want to. All you have to do is want to do it enough. One day, it's 1950, one day if you really want to, you can even fly to the moon. As long as you never forget you're nothing but an overgrown monkey. Yeah, there you go. What happens 50 years later? My staff names me Ling Yai. right? So I must be an overgrown monkey. You know? So anyway, there you go. Then when I was 19, I almost died. Yeah, the story Free Ride's on my website. A very famous artist did the picture. So I let the ego get the best of me. I did a really good ride at a place called The Wedge, one of the world's 5 most dangerous surf spots. It was so dangerous. So many people were killed and became quadriplegics there. The city of Newport Beach outlawed surfing there, body surfing. It's a body surfing spot. So we formed the Wedgehead Society, took it all the way to the Supreme Court, and won the right to die. So if you go surfing at the Wedge now, you got to sign a release with a lifeguard that says that the city's not responsible and you'll pay for the ambulance to take you to the hospital, right? So anyway, I'm 19. Fortunately, I just saved a guy. I think that was my good karma. And I took a ride that was so good, I could hear the people on the beach. This was the biggest day that I had ever seen. We're talking 40-foot waves, at least 2 times higher than the ceiling, maybe 3 times higher. And when you're screaming across that wave, you're looking down at wet sand. And you're going, oh, if my timing isn't perfect, I'm going to get dumped on that sand. So anyway, I did this really great ride. I'm 19 years old. I got full of myself, started paddling out on my back, and all of a sudden it got dark. And I flip over on my stomach and I'm looking at this vertical green wall of water with this white foam on it. And I look way up there, and the crest of the wave was already past me. I'm like, oh, this is it. And I dove on the sand because it sucked all the water out. Dove on the sand, assumed the crab position, and as soon as the wave broke, there went my fins. This was before fin leashes. And I said, man, this is it. I came up just in time to get one breath and get hit in the face by the next wave, and then by the next wave, 3 waves set. It took me an hour. My near-death experience was an hour long. It took me an hour to swim 200 meters away from the jetty to where I could just let a wave throw me up on the beach. You guys know what a cut sandbank is? You see them sometimes where the sand's cut away by the waves, maybe this high. When I came out, I reached up like this, and folks reached down and grabbed me. We're talking a 10 or 12 foot sand cut, right? Pulled me up, and I came out and I said, everything from here on is a free ride. I can be as crazy as I want to be. I was already crazy. I said, I can be as crazy as I want to be. I can be a lunatic. I can do anything I want to, because today I died in that water. And that's the way I live my life. And that's why I'm such a crazy guy and do such foolish things and go looking in caves that might have crocodiles in them, because this used to be sea crocodile country, you know. Sea crocodile range is all the way from sea crocodile country. And I researched this place for 4 years before I came here, and I said, I wonder how many are left. So every time I go in a new cave, I take my paddle and put it in front of me, and I said, that paddle will never stop a sea croc, but at least it'll get indigestion before it eats me, right? So that you know, when you have this knowledge that this might be the last time when you go in these caves, it really makes you wonder when these other companies come out there and crash the place. You know, so anyway, I think I've probably told enough stories. I'm going to shut up. Questions now? Any questions? How are we going to clean up Phuket? Come on. This place, when I came here, was just paradise. Yes, Nick. Huh? What can the media do? Well, you know, I used to write this column, and then this guy that I was writing for used to say, oh, you can't write about shark fin soup. You know? So, if I write in the Phuket News, can I write about the horrors of shark fin soup?
Education.
Absolutely, that's what I do, right? That's the whole thing that I'm all about. So, everything I do is centered around this, whether I'm teaching at PSU, whether I'm writing for the local rag, or whether I'm out there running trips, it's all about education. The trip that we go on is a natural history by sea kayak since 1983. Oh, I know what I'll close with. I decided to run a trip to see Halley's Comet and a coastline in Fiji where I've never seen a light. Think about this. You can see a ship at sea 50, maybe 75 miles away. And on this coastline is so remote I had never seen the light. So what happens? I take these people all the way to Fiji, and a Class 5 hurricane goes right over our campsite. The eye of the Class 5 hurricane. The thing that really pissed me off was it was in the dark and I didn't get to see the eye wall, you know. But anyway, I save all these people. We end up rescuing Fijians off the top of their berets. I finally get back to Hawaii. I walk in the door. I'm just still stunned. The cameraman calls me up from Molokai Forgotten Frontier. John, you're back. I go, yeah. He says, you be sure to watch the news tonight. What, are you going to have a story about the Fiji hurricane? No, you just watch the news tonight. This is like 9 in the morning. I got to wait all day long. What the hell is going to happen on the news tonight, right? So I turn on KGM News, #1 in Hawaii, statewide, all across the state. Bob Jones, this famous Vietnam War correspondent, was the anchor. He opens the news. John Gray, I know you're watching. You better sit down and grab a lobster and champagne because you just won Hawaii's first ever Emmy Award. So thank you very much. With that, I'm going to shut up.
Wow, how do I follow that? I don't. Thanks very much, John. Wonderful talk. Before we finish though, I have James to come up and make a presentation. John, come on up. This is your life. Round of applause, please.
Okay, by the way, I have all these gift coupons, trip for 2. So I think I'm going to start passing out one as a door prize at every IBAP from now on. So if you guys haven't been on the trip, okay.
Thank you very much.